I'm going to be doing a water pump on a Duramax. This is a 2001. It's a 6.6 liter. And the water pump in it is kind of a little different. It's different because it runs off of the timing gear. And so it's a little bit messy. A little bit of oil in the job and a little bit of antifreeze on the job. A whole lot of antifreeze on the job. Anyway, when these fail and they start to leak, they leak out these little weep holes. And they're kind of out to the side like that. If you follow the bottom radiator hose, which you can't see yet, but you'll see a little bit later, I'll show you where it leaks from. But basically you'll get a leak off of about the center front of the engine, even though this is a little bit on the driver's side. So you'll have another one like this that's down below. You see where it's got a little overhang? Right down underneath it here, there's going to be another one on each side. I know you can't see that, but you'll just have to trust me that it's there. So you want to pull the shroud, and then also there's bolts on the front side here. There's going to be 4, 1, 2, 3, and then there's a fourth further down. Alright, so I've pulled those bolts that go in the front here. Next thing you want to do is you'll notice that this sits kind of high. That's a housing for the computer. You just push it away from the radiator toward the back and then pull up. And then what I like to do is just kind of twist it up out of the way. The next thing you'll want to do, you'll want to make sure that you have the right kind of pliers for this. These are there's more than one way to skin a cat. This is my favorite way to skin this cat. When you look down across the side of this, you look down there, you can see that there's a hole right here, and there's another one here. They've got these special kind of body fasteners. This is what it looks like when you pull them out. This comes up, but to get it to this point, you got to grab onto them. What I do is I grab onto them from the top with these pliers. These are made to grip a hose without damaging it and twist it off. I use it just the very tips of it. I'll grab onto the tip of that thing, and then it's important that you pull it side to side after you grab it. Rock the pliers side to side, not the fastener, obviously it's secured. But rock it side to side and then give it a real good yank upward, and it'll pull the whole thing out, and you set it aside. There's 2 on each side of this, and once you pull those out, doing the lighting. You ever watch a movie and there's all these different credits? There's key grip, that's the guy with the camera. There's lighting specialist. There's gaffer, the guy that has the microphone, all this stuff. I'm all of those things. I know I'm not the best at them, but I'm going to try to give you some information the best I can. I always get all these comments saying, you got to hold the camera still or aim better at that or your lighting sucks or whatever. I know, but I'm doing the best I can, so bear with me. So basically you pull those out. There's 2 on each side, down off the side here and here. You set that off to the side, and then you've got a whole bunch of access. Now where we're going to be working and where the water pump is on this thing is it's down inside of here. There's a housing that covers over the top of it. So you're going to have to pull the fan off, and you're also going to have to pull off the belt, and you're going to have to pull off this top little pipe. And then also you'll have to pull the lower radiator hose. I don't know how well you can see that. I can see it clear as day. But see right down here, there's a hose clamp here for the radiator hose. You want to drop that off and get that draining. So I'm going to pull the belt off and we'll go to that point. As far as the belt goes, this is the routing for the diesel. So you just want to follow that. Where the tensioner is it's just right here on the side. And the way you actuate that is you put a 3/8 drive ratchet in there, and then you pull it up. And when you pull it up, it'll let off the alternator. So on the routing guide, it's this little one in the corner, so you just crank that up, and you can pull it off and unstring it through everything. And I'll go to that point, and we'll pick up from there. To take a look at this, this is the top half of a T-post, and I've cut it down to be skinny to fit into place. Now you recognize it as a T-post. But anyway, I cut that off because it had a nice mushroomed head on it that you can hit with. Somebody really beat it into some hard ground. So what I did is I took a chisel and I welded into the T-post this chisel. Now what does that have to do with anything, and why am I showing you this little tool that I made, this killer long chisel, when we're doing a water pump? Well, my favorite way to get a thermal fan clutch off is to use a chisel. If you look at this one, that's right hand thread, and I don't know how well you can see, but on this far side of the pulley. I want to get this to go counterclockwise. So what I do is I aim the chisel straight at it so it's almost perpendicular, and I make a little bite mark. And that's what you see there, is you see a little bite mark. See the shiny silver? And then once I've done that, I turn this over just a little bit, and then I hit it on the top with a hammer. And once I do that, it does a bunch of different things. For one, it gives you the advantage of an impact, and it vibrates all through the whole thing, and then it also delivers some angular torque to get it to come undone. So between the two of those things, instead of having to have a big specialty wrench and a bunch of other hassle, it breaks it free, so where you can just undo it by hand. So we'll get that spinning. See, there's a lot of dust. Anytime there's a lot of rust and dust and all that kind of stuff, it cold welds itself into place, and so by doing that, it breaks up all of that. See, you see that just spins off, and you pull that out of the way. A lot of people are going to get stuck on that. If you do my method using I use a little 3-pound sledge or 5-pound sledge, whatever it is, get a little Thor action going on it, and that takes care of that. Let me show you while we're doing this, the tensioner. And if you don't have this little diagram, because this one's crazy, if you don't have it, you can look at this one. There you go. Or draw it. Write it down on a piece of paper so that you have it. But you pull up on it with your 3/8 inch wrench. Use your pinky finger that your camera is held in to hold that wrench. I've got pinkies of steel, I'll tell you what. I don't know if that's something to brag about, but it is the truth. So you unstring your hose, get it all the way off, everything, like that. You can't see it because my pinky finger's holding the wrench, but I just took the belt out of there. And then you're ready to get in there. As I said before, the water pump location on this one, you'd think it would be right here, and that would make all the sense in the world, but that's just an idler pulley. It doesn't do anything. The water pump's inside of this. It looks like a turbo housing. It's actually kind of sexy, if you ask me. I like it. But there's that housing, and then underneath of that housing is where the water pump is. Now, as you're looking down on this, as I said earlier, this is an idler. We're going to go ahead and pull that. There's a little sensor down on the side here. You want to use a little flathead screwdriver like this, and you can hook it into the end of the tab that secures it. I wish I could show this better, but you're just going to have to trust me. You put the screwdriver in and then pry the tab off very gently, and then while you're doing that, you pull on the pigtail with your other hand, wiggle it free, and you pull that out, and you'll be able to pull this off. There's a couple of bolts on this side. There's one down underneath it here, and then there's just this one right there, and that'll get that. So as you can see, I pulled away the harmonic, not the harmonic balancer. I'm about to. I'm working on that. But I pulled the pipe out. I'm going to replace this because it's got a little bulge in it. Next thing you want to do is you want to pull out the passenger side tire and then also the fender well. Use those same pliers with the little pinchy ends and pull all the body clips out to get the fender well exposed. This is your starter. Back up in here, that's the top bolt. It's 15 millimeters. Be sure to disconnect both negative battery cables, and then we're going to pull the starter back. Once you pull the starter back, you'll be able to put an extension in through the flywheel. You got to brace the flywheel to hold the crankshaft still, and you got to hold the crankshaft still so that you can get out the harmonic balancer bolt. It's only torqued down to 250 pounds, but it also has Loctite on it, so it takes, you know, people say give or take 500 foot-pounds, so you need a big cheater and a 3/4 inch on a 36 millimeter 12-point socket, and it is regular counterclockwise to loosen. So anyway, that's what we're working at now. Okay, so what we have here is I have a 1/2 inch breaker bar in the female end. I had to grind down so it was a good fit. I stuck it in the hole where the bolts hold the flywheel to the torque converter, and this is a, what is it, 9 or 12 inch extension, and then I took a 17 millimeter socket and stuck it on the bolt over the top of it to hold it down. And that's how you brace the flywheel. There's a Listly tool. It's tool number LIS-22100, 22100. And it's cheap. It's like $33, but you got to order it well ahead of time. and that makes it so you don't have to pull the starter. You just pull a little inspection plate for the transmission, slip the tool in. But good luck getting one, especially on short notice. So this is the other way to do it. Okay, so we got the 12.36 millimeter socket on there, and then you just need to get some hired muscle, get somebody that's really handsome and strong to pull on it. Go ahead. Crank. And we're loose. And then the harmonic balancer just slides off the end. Be careful because it's really, really heavy. You don't want to drop it because it can crack and break. Alright, this is a view through the driver's side wheel well. You can see that nut with the green paint on the left of it. That's the nut that you get through here. You may be able to access it another way, but if there is, this seems like the best way to get it. Where you see the red paint, that's where the water pump is. It's sandwiched in between that housing and the timing cover. So I'm going to back away slowly so you can kind of see where this is. There's the tire, there's the driver door. So you just go in through there over the top of the intake boot on the intercooler. So, and then on this side there's just 3 bolts. Now that we've got the harmonic balancer out of the way, it just slides off. There's a bolt down here on the housing, there's a bolt up here, and then there's another smaller one there. Once you pull those, you got to have the ones back here on this pipe, the one that we just saw through the wheel well. And there's another one. I wish they just do bolts through from this side. That makes so much more sense. But no, it's coming from this way. So, and they're 13 millimeter or 1/2 inch. No, they're not. They're 12 millimeter. I don't know why I just told you that. So anyway, let me double check on that. It's been quite the project. 12 millimeter. So once you pull those out, the assembly comes out, and then you can swap the water pump onto it. Here's what it looks like with it out. I pried, see that? It looks kind of, I don't know how to explain. But basically I pried just from in here. And when you pry that and then grab the hose thing on the bottom, that goes to the bottom hose. So basically it sits in there like that. Pry from this side, and then you pull up on from this side. And as you go to pull this out, pull it out real straight and level like this. Don't turn it, don't dump it, don't look at something. Just pull it straight out and away from the motor, and then you won't get any coolant in the, or any antifreeze in the oil. So once you pull it out like this, you roll it over on the ground away from the engine, and then you've just got these 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. And then your water pump, this is the new one right here, and then your water pump just goes in there like this. Watch for the O-ring that goes on here. This is just a gasket, just regular gasket. It comes with the water pump, and you got the 2 O-rings, and then that's that. Now, by way of notes, when you go to tighten everything down, these are 12 foot-pounds. The rest of the mountings are about 16 foot-pounds, and then when you go to do the harmonic balancer, this is the important part to pay attention to. Remember the thing that we did to hold the harmonic, the flywheel still so that we could get the thing loose? You want to do the same thing, turn it clockwise, and then stick the extension back up in the through the flywheel to stop it, and you want to torque that down to 250 foot-pounds. So this is how you do it. Sorry you have to do this one. This one's not fun. When you look it up on the different labor programs and stuff, there's A, B, and C. This is a C. It's a little bit more technical than most. But anyway, that's how you do it. I think it would be a cool idea to start inviting people to do video responses. You know, you don't have to do a whole how-to video, but just if there's a tip or a trick or something that you found when you were doing this job, if you could do it in a video response and then post it on, that would be awesome. So video responses, comments, add to favorites, all those kind of things are great. If you have any questions or comments or anything else you want to add, just put it in the comments below.